thanks for being with me. What do you do when you've been sexually abused and the abuser is brought before a court and you believe that this is your opportunity to get justice, where as a child you were sexually assaulted by someone that you trusted, and as an adult whose life has been disrupted, whereby self-harm, suicidal ideation, thoughts of unworthiness have dominated you since childhood because of the damage done to you by an individual. And then, when you go to court, you are told that it is sad what has happened to you, but because of the aging and the deteriorating condition of the perpetrator, they get to walk free. And one of the questions I ask myself over and over again is, where is the justice system when it comes to understanding the damage that these people do, particularly pedophiles, to the lives of kids? And how many times have they abused, and who have they abused? And, you know, we need to acknowledge the courage that it takes for people to come forward and talk about these issues. But when they do, we expect justice to be issued. We expect that the perpetrator will receive the full strength of the law, that they will be punished for the damage that they've done to these children, now adults. But alas, that isn't what happened. So I'm going to take you to an article a few weeks ago now, but I think is important in relation to this particular case. And so I'm going to read you through some of this article. I do warn you that some of it's relatively graphic, I guess. So if you have any of these issues, please seek counselling. But this particular article, it's called "Sexual Abuse Survivor Who Had His Teenage Years Stolen Finds Community Through Group Therapy." And it's good that this man has sought therapy. It's good that he has chosen to make a stand against, and well, at least provide a voice, I guess, for others in relation to the abuse that occurred to him. 10 years ago, this coming December, on a gloomy Thursday morning, Travis Finlayson walked into the county court in Melbourne, hoping that justice and perhaps a measure of personal salvation would prevail in a 3-act play. First, the then 39-year-old Finlayson visualised his boyhood abuser, Arthur Eaton, being led away to a jail cell. So this is what he envisaged would be happening. Second, having waived his legal right to anonymity, Finlayson would tell his wrenching story to a shocked and receptive media pack. In turn, they would share it with the world. Finally, every other survivor of Eaton's abuse, Finlayson always felt there were many more out there, would read Finlayson's story and find the courage to tell their own, compounding Eaton's punishment, restoring decades of sorrow and shame to their rightful owner. But inside the courtroom that day, Travis Finlayson's dream quickly unravelled. Eaton's previous conviction, this is Eaton here, disgusting individual. Eaton's previous conviction and admission of abusing Finlayson meant his muttered guilty in an earlier plea hearing would be the only word he spoke. While the judge noted that the effects of Eaton's crime were nothing short of devastating for Finlayson, that Eaton had stolen the life that a healthy, active teenager should have experienced and plummeted him into low self-esteem, fractured relationships, alcohol abuse and self-harm, he wholly suspended Eaton's 26-month sentence on account of the offender's laundry list of medical conditions. Finlayson remembers sitting in court and thinking, health reasons? What about my effing health? I'm going to hell and back, and my health hasn't been considered here. So many survivors have taken their lives. By then, the compliments paid, and the judge said, "I'm tremendously impressed with your courage." Big deal. He told Finlayson, and this thing just washed over him, replaced by a burning sense of frustration and angst. Bristling outside the court, Finlayson says he was incensed that Ethan's lawyer thought it helpful to suggest to Finlayson seeking counselling. Moments later, Ethan was led not into a jail cell, but a car that whisked him back to the comfort of his home, assisted by a carer. And the press pack Finlayson had envisaged were nowhere to be seen. None of what I wanted had happened, Finlayson says, and I didn't take it well at all. And the thing that we need to remember here is that this happens over and over again, where perpetrators, often because they're elderly, get away with it. So, and what Finlayson envisaged should happen in his mind should have happened in reality, but it didn't, because the court were more concerned with the health of the perpetrator than they were with the impact his behaviour had on a teenager for the rest of that teenager's life up until now. And it disgusts me that true consideration is not given to the impact that pedophilia has on children for the rest of their lives. It is sad that that seems to be dismissed as a significant consequence. You know, if he had murdered somebody, if Eden had murdered somebody, would it have meant that he would have been locked up and they would have thrown away the key? Yeah, I reckon it would have. They wouldn't have cared too much. But for some reason, pedophilia, destroying children's lives, to the courts doesn't seem to be as important as taking someone's life. But when in fact, that's what they've done. They've destroyed a person's life. A lot of these kids grow up to live a life of hell, full of drug abuse, broken relationships, frustration, anger, fear, hate. And the justice system, to me, doesn't seem to take them seriously at all. So I'd be interested to know what you think about this. Remembering that my YouTube channel is about us having a conversation. So let me know what you think about this sort of issue, and whether you agree with Finlayson that what he envisaged should have taken place. And, you know, the press weren't there, and good on the ABC for doing this article, actually. But the press weren't even present, weren't interested, you know. And my experience is that you have some of this stuff around sexual abuse and so forth, sits on the front page for a day, vanishes to third, fourth, sixth page of a newspaper, and then disappears altogether. And even in relation to the death of kids in care, I've covered that many, many times throughout my career, and people don't seem to care. For some reason, which I don't understand, because it's concerned me my whole professional life, is why people don't care about the damage done to children by adults. I don't understand it. Never will, I guess. Because it just doesn't seem to be human or humane to me. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.